Some time ago, I was judging a photography competition and I came upon this photo that I thought was pretty outstanding until I saw all of the sensor dust, and I couldn't give it such a high score anymore. Sensor dust is something that we all have to deal with from time to time. Now, most cameras today have self-cleaning sensors. That's really, really helpful. But it's when you change the lens on your camera that dust and other debris can get into your camera and get on your sensor and affect your images. So how do you change a lens properly? I've got 4 great tips today to help you with that. Now, you can always come into something like Lightroom or Photoshop and spend all kinds of time getting rid of dust spots. Now, I mean, myself, I don't mind, taking up 30 seconds or maybe a minute getting rid of a few spots. But do you really want to spend 5 or 10 minutes on every image getting rid of spots like this here and all these things here? I don't think so. Look how bad this looks, by the way. I'm putting it on, look at all of these little white spots. Those are all dust spots, and they've got to be removed if you don't want them to show up in your image. So better not to have them to start with if at all possible. And for those of you out there who shoot JPEGs and don't do any post-processing in Photoshop, there are a lot of photographers out there. I've talked to a lot of you, and you don't care to do things after you've taken your pictures. If that's the case and you're not doing any post-processing, then you have what you have, so you don't want the dust spots. Tip number 1, and this may seem kind of obvious or maybe not, but you've got to turn your camera off. Make sure your camera is off, because what happens when your camera is on is there are kind of electrical things going on, and the static can build up on your sensor and attract dust and debris. So make sure your camera is turned off when you change your lens. Tip number 2. Now, this one really gets me. You know how often you see people walking around and they have their camera like this and it's like this, and there's dust and debris everywhere in the air, even stuff that you can't really see too much, and then they go to change their lens and they, hold it like this and do this sort of thing, and absolutely the wrong way to do it. Make sure your camera is facing down. Always face it down. Now, you have a red dot on your camera itself and you have a red dot on the lens. So obviously you just match those up. Turn your camera down rather. Match it up with your lens. And there it is. So that's tip number 2. Make sure your camera is facing down. Tip number 3. Let's say you're outside and there's some wind or a breeze. Put your back to the wind. Make sure that your body breaks all of that breeze that's coming in back of you so that you don't have as much dust and things flying around your lens and your camera when you change your lens. So make sure the wind is in back of you. And tip number 4. Okay, let's say your camera is lens free. You don't have a lens on your camera. Certainly don't pack it away in your camera bag like this. Make sure you have this, which came with the camera, and you put that on and you pack it like that, or you store it, whether it's in a cupboard or whatever, but just never leave the camera open, because your sensor is wide open to gathering all kinds of things that you don't want on it. Okay, I hope those tips were helpful to you as you get out there and do your photography. Until next time, I'm Ray Scott reminding you it's not what you see, it's how you see it. And I'll see you soon.